She was standing 6 feet away in the dark, and when the moonlight hit her face, she changed it. She rearranged it into a mirror of my own face. She was showing me what she was going to turn me into. The Ward Nurse. Part 3 of 4. I moved left, not a plan. My body chose it while my mind was still catching up. I went along the wall with my back against the plaster and my eyes on her, and I made it to the corridor entrance before she moved. She did not follow me with her body first. Her head turned. Before her shoulders, before her feet, before anything else shifted, her head rotated toward me on her neck in a smooth, slow arc, and the hollow sockets found me against the wall, and she simply knew where I was. Then her body followed. One movement, no intermediate steps. She was facing me fully, still 2 inches above the floor, and she began to come toward me. Not fast. She did not need to be fast. The corridor I was backing into was a dead end. I knew it. She knew it. The smell hit first. Same as before but stronger, close enough now to have texture. Sweet rot over something chemical, formaldehyde or something older, something that predated the word for it, and underneath both of those something that I can only describe as wrongly organic. Like a body continuing processes it should have stopped. My torch was still on the station desk. I had nothing. I kept backing. She kept coming. I passed the first examination room, then the second, the third. She maintained distance the way a predator does, close enough that I could not forget her, far enough that I could not act. My back hit the wall at the dead end of the corridor. The last examination room door was to my right. I tried the handle. It opened. I went inside. I pulled the door shut. I pressed my back against it and waited. Silence. For 40 seconds, silence. Then the door handle turned from the outside slowly, all the way. The latch disengaged. The door held only because I was pressing my full weight against it from the inside. She did not push. She held the handle in the open position and waited. I could hear her breathing through the door. That same slow, deliberate rhythm. Patient. She had been patient for 60 years. She had time. My back was against the door and the room was dark and I had no light, and I stood there in the blind black waiting for her to push. And she did not push and did not push, and the breathing continued, and I began to understand that this was the method. This was how she did it. She waited. She had waited for my grandmother to break first. Inside this building in 1961, my grandmother had broken in 6 years. I could feel the pressure of that patience through a wooden door. I was already cracking. Then the breathing stopped again. Complete silence. I waited 10 seconds, 20. The door handle slowly returned to the closed position. I waited another full minute before I moved. The room was completely dark. I could not see my own hand in front of my face. I moved along the wall toward where I remembered the window being. My hand found the sill. Cold iron. Broken glass along the edge. Moonlight came in from outside, not much but enough to see the room. I turned around. She was already inside. I do not know when she came in. There was no door she could have used. She was standing 6 feet from me with her back to the wall beneath the window frame. And she was looking directly at me, and she was close enough that I could see everything the distance had hidden. Her skin was not just gray. It was layered, translucent at the surface over something darker underneath, and the dark veins visible through it pulsed. Slowly, steadily. She was not dead in the way I had assumed. She was dead in a different way. Something was still running in her. Something had been running in her continuously since she latched onto my grandmother in Ward 7 in 1961, and she had been fed by our fear for 63 years, and I was the next meal in a very long line. I could see her hands clearly in the moonlight. The fingers were not just elongated. The middle joints bent backward. Not broken, deliberate. Articulated that way, designed that way. She raised her right hand toward my face. Not fast. She had all the time that had ever existed. Her index finger, bent backward at the joint, hovered 4 inches from my left cheek. The air between her finger and my skin was cold. Not room cold. Cold in a specific way that moved. She was breathing something out, and it was landing on my skin, and where it landed I could not feel my own face anymore. I am going to tell you something now, and I need you to hear it clearly. Her face changed. While I stood frozen with my back against the broken window frame and cold glass pressing into my spine, her face rearranged. The skull beneath the skin shifted. The jaw extended slightly, the eye sockets shallowed, and the face that looked at me from 6 inches away was not the face of a stranger. The cheekbones, the set of the jaw, the specific angle of the brow, it was my face. Older, destroyed, drained of everything that made it mine, but the architecture was identical. She was showing me what she was going to make of me. She was not going to take my life. She was going to take myself. She was going to hollow me out from the inside and wear the outside, and she had done this before, to someone in my family, before my grandmother, before my father, back to whoever first made the mistake that set this debt in motion. And I understood something then that I could not unknow. My grandmother had not escaped to Skaltsmynde in 1967. My grandmother had not survived and walked out and carried a haunting with her. What walked out of this building in 1967 was wearing my grandmother's face, the woman my father grew up with, the woman who slept with all the lights on, the woman who could not look at photographs of this building, because she was afraid someone would see the recognition in her eyes. That woman was her. I was staring into the thing that had replaced my grandmother 60 years ago. I was 6 inches from the face it was currently planning to replace me with, and its finger was still moving toward my cheek. Her finger touched my face. The cold went inward. Not through the skin, through something underneath the skin. I felt something in my chest loosen like a knot releasing, something I had never known was tied, and I understood what that was. That was me. That was the thing that made me me. And it was coming loose. That's it for part 3. Follow Untold Lores for part 4. Like and subscribe for daily stories.